Would you believe that the beginning of our story took place a very long time ago when we were just tiny atoms floating around in the world's petri dish? Fast forward to about 6 million years ago when the first hominids, the family of primates that includes humans, emerged. So where did we come from? About 1.9 million years in the distant past, with brains larger than those of their primate ancestors, Homo erectus was the first species to leave Africa and colonize other parts of the world. About 400,000 years ago, Neanderthals left behind evidence of their bodies adapted to the cold climates of Europe and Western Asia, and their distinctive facial features were among the most human-like ever observed. What made scientists able to better understand how Homo sapiens eventually evolved from the older lineages of hominins? Through the discovery of ancient bones and stone tools, genetic research, and the reconstruction of our ancestors' changing environments. These pieces of evidence suggest that Homo sapiens originated in Africa, albeit not necessarily at one specific period or location. Rather, it appears that various groups of progenitors of modern humans existed in livable sections of Africa, evolving in relative isolation both physically and culturally, until climate-driven shifts to the continent's geography prompted them to mix and exchange everything from tools to DNA on a sporadic basis. This process ultimately produced the distinct genetic composition of contemporary people. How did the process of civilization allow Homo sapiens to ascend to a position of worldwide dominance? Starting approximately 4000 BCE, our story takes place in the lush regions of Mesopotamia, sandwiched between the massive Tigris and Euphrates rivers and the Sumerian city of Uruk. The people of Uruk were able to develop a method of harvesting cereal grains like wheat and barley, as opposed to depending on hunting and gathering as our ancestors did in the past. Have any idea when the great Indus Valley civilization happened? Well, it flourished between 3300 and 1300 BCE and was most known for its highly developed sewage system, underground drainage system, city limits, etc. Pyramid construction took up more of their time in Egypt because it was thought in ancient Egyptian religion that a pharaoh's spirit would continue to exist in the afterlife. The first Chinese dynasty was established in China around 2100 BCE. The people there were always dependent on agriculture, growing a variety of crops, including rice, wheat, and barley. The Olmec civilization, which flourished from 1200 to 400 BCE in modern-day Mexico, is frequently regarded as the progenitor of Native American civilizations. Let's jump to the time for some philosophical and theological concept development. During the Axial Age between 800 and 200 BCE, several revolutionary philosophical and theological concepts emerged, largely on their own and in various locations. During this time, Jewish monotheism, Chinese Confucianism, Indian Buddhism, and Jainism all emerged. The Maurya Empire, 320–185 BCE, was established in South Asia by Chandragupta Maurya, and it prospered under Ashoka the Great. Considered ancient India's golden age, it was ruled by the Gupta Empire between the 4th and 6th centuries CE. The subsequent stability signaled the beginning of a flourishing period in Hindu and Buddhist culture in the 4th and 5th centuries, along with significant breakthroughs in science and mathematics. 3 notable Dravidian kingdoms, the Cheras, Cholas, and Pandyas, arose in South India. Have you come across the term post-classical era? Despite being taken from the name of the classical antiquity era, the phrase has a wider geographic range. The majority of historians date the period to the collapse of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century BC, the early Muslim conquests, the Islamic Golden Age that ensued, the start and growth of the Arab slave trade, the Mongol invasions, and the establishment of the Ottoman Empire are all included in the post-classical era. A succession of Indian Middle Kingdoms was established in South Asia, which was followed by the creation of Islamic empires in India. The Mali and Songhai empires arose in West Africa. Arabic ports were founded on Africa's southeast coast, serving as trading hubs for gold, spices, and other goods. Due to Africa's ability to participate in the Southeast Asian commerce system and increased interaction with Asia, the Swahili culture emerged. China went through the early Ming, Song, Yuan, Tang, and Sui dynasties in succession. There was little economic and cultural exchange between Asian and European civilizations throughout the Middle Eastern trade routes that followed the Indian Ocean and the Silk Road that crossed the Gobi Desert. The America's greatest civilizations, including the Mississippians, Aztecs, Maya, and Incas, flourished throughout this time. It is time to get some idea of how the early modern period took place. Between the Middle Ages and the Industrial Revolution, or roughly from 1500 to 1800, was the early modern era. The rise of the proto-centralized bureaucratic state was a defining feature of the era. By establishing maritime empires, European countries rose to rule most of the world. The Portuguese and Spanish empires were followed by the French, English, and Dutch empires. The variables that led to Europe's ascent, or the Great Divergence, are still up for debate among historians. The first capitalist economies emerged in some Asian port cities and the northern Italian republics. Do you know the fact that during the early modern era, serfdom and the influence of the Catholic Church declined and ultimately disappeared in most of Europe, while mercantilist economic philosophy gained prominence? As evidenced by numerous events, most notably the October 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, humanity as a whole was placed at risk of nuclear war between the two superpowers due to the invention of nuclear weapons during World War II and their subsequent dissemination. The Cold War accelerated the development of technology like computers, jet aircraft, and rocketry, which were developed before World War II, but were put into use to meet the demands of that conflict. These developments in the decades following World War II brought about jet flight and man-made satellites with countless uses, such as GPS and the Internet, which started to become popular as a communication tool in the 1990s. These inventions have completely transformed the flow of people, ideas, and information. As present-day well-evolved humans, we are in the growing economic globalization and integration in the early 21st century, which brought both benefits and risks to interconnected economies, as demonstrated by the Great Recession of the late 2000s and early 2010s. By the middle of the 2010s, social media and smartphones had been widely used, contributing to the expansion of communications. Artificial intelligence systems advanced to the point where they could surpass humans at many limited tasks by the early 2020s. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 significantly impacted international trade, sparked recessions around the world, and prompted changes in cultural norms. As mitigation measures, such as a move to sustainable energy, gradually advanced, concerns increased as existential dangers from environmental degradation and global warming became more apparent. Hence, the story continues. As humans, we have undergone such a wonderful transformation to be who we are now, and we still tend to transform more to see who we can be. So let's enjoy this beautiful life and enjoy it to the fullest. So I hope you got excited knowing the amazing features of modern human civilization. Share with your friends. Can you spot a bell icon? Please subscribe for more interesting updates. Also, like and don't forget to comment below with your thoughts on what you think about this wonderful civilization. See you all next time. Take care.